Well, hello, Facebook Live world. It's good to be finally back and doing another Facebook Live. I should call it Idea Sex Live. So as of today, I am launching Idea Sex, where ideas make love live. So the idea is essentially we'll have the same concept of what Idea Sex is, which no one really would know about because I sat on this idea for a good 8 months without actually launching any of the videos. So Idea Sex is essentially where two people go on camera and they talk out a certain idea, and then new idea babies come out live on the camera. So I did about 7 or 8 of these videos with amazing thought leaders in Melbourne. And by the way, welcome on board. Just to say hello, say where you're from, and love you to say hi and let me know where you're at, so we can start getting some conversation flowing for this concept of ontological promiscuity. So, yes, Idea Sex Live is now birthed as of right now. So you, few people who have just come on board, thank you so much for coming on board. Welcome to the very first Idea Sex Live, where the topic will be ontological promiscuity. So, you may have seen the video that came up before. What we'll do is maybe even do a breakdown of Jason Silver's video. So Jason Silver is one of my... I have such a man crush on this guy. He is just able to jazz out such wisdom, such flow, such ideological beauty in such a pure form. So, hello Bridget, how you doing? Hey guys, just let me know where you're at and where you're tuning in from. How your day's been. Even just we're going to have a conversation and talk about ontological promiscuity in general. So basically, it means ontology is the way of being. It's a study, it's science, and the science of being itself. So, and promiscuity, I think we all know what promiscuity means, but obviously, basically making your way around all these different ways of being. So, taking on different modes or even completely contrasting ways of operating in the world, and then just trying them on within the self. So, the example I give is, I went from being a Christian pastor and preacher and essentially like being very, very prudent in my sensuality, and I was all for waiting for sex for marriage and all that kind of thing, and then when I turned 30 and I kind of got a bit disappointed by the romantic aspects of life, I thought, screw it, I don't have to do this whole waiting for marriage and waiting for a relationship to be incredibly sensual or even sexual. So that was 2 different ways of being. So I could be prudent and whatever the other word is, a slut and or stud, depending on your perspective of sex and sensuality. So let's do a couple little things. Let's try this out. So I just like this absolute riffing off it. And guys, just let me know your thoughts as well. What do you think about ontological promiscuity? What do you think of the idea of trying on different ways of being in everyday life and just really bouncing around these different ways of operating in the world? I shall bring up the video and we'll see if you guys can see it as well. There we go. That's working pretty well. Just comment down below, guys. Just say hello if there's if you like. Oh wow, here we go. So from Bridget, sending you love from Rainy Warrandyte. Thanks for describing ontological. Just hearing, about to Google it. Great. Well, I've said a bit about it, and we're totally going to keep going on that and keep riffing on this front a bit more. So maybe Bridget and anyone else who wants to chime in, what has your experience been in, being one way and then even like the next day or the next week trying on a completely different way of being? What's been your experience of the world rather than being stuck in one particular thought, way of being or adjective for who you are? Love to hear that from you guys. In the meantime, I'm just going to play a bit of Jason Silver's video so we can actually get a clear idea of what it is from his perspective, from the master himself. Here we go. So let me just flip this screen around. Boom. So reality is a linguistic construction. Oh my goodness. Let me see if I can get me out of the way a little bit here. There we go. This is going to work. Let's see. Oh, let's go this way. That might be better. Just trying to think if I can cut that light out. There we go, let's go like that. Hello, Purute, welcome. Here we go. And we might just play it once through and maybe break it down.
The 1960s 1960s was a time of tumultuous change in America. It was an era in which young people in droves started to experiment with altered states of consciousness, started to experiment with altering their perception using psychedelic, i.e. mind manifesting drugs.
So there we go. So we're talking about the 1960s and how, you know, obviously this liberal movement of people who were trying out all these different psychedelic experiences, opening themselves up to different realities, different perceptions of reality. And then what he'll go on to talk about now is obviously the impact on culture and the impact on people's mindscapes, the impact on people's whole perceptions of reality, their ways of being and the way that they operated in the world altogether. Hey, Jason, and yes, I'll send you some seasick pills.
This created a kind of cultural revolution, or a cultural crisis, if you are those in power. And so at the time, of course, the hippies movement was criticized for its sexual promiscuity. You know, that was the easiest way to describe it. Oh, these young people are just having wild, unprotected sex, and they're growing their hair long, and they're being rebellious, and oh my God, so much sexual promiscuity. But if you really look at what was the threat to the status quo in the 1960s, it wasn't sexual promiscuity. It was actually something more like ontological promiscuity. See, ontology has to do with beingness. And when people were experimenting with mind-altering substances, they were disclosing new forms of beingness before themselves. Like literally, they were smashing their reality tunnels. They were realizing that culture is a linguistic construct and that...
I love that, smashing our reality tunnels. So he's referencing a gentleman who wrote the book Prometheus Rising, a beautiful book, one of my top 5 books, and I'm going Robert Anton Wilson, there's his name. Robert Anton Wilson talks about us living in reality tunnels. So essentially, we have this circular perspective. It's like we're looking through a telescope at reality, and there's all of reality around it, and all we can see is what we can see through our particular reality tunnel, through our particular way of being brought up, our parents, our our education. It's just got a little bit crazy there, so I'm just going to bounce it back for a sec. Hello. And you know, these different perceptions and beliefs and understandings we had of life, and you know, smashing those reality tunnels together. So when you get to people of very, very disparate concepts and backgrounds and you know, lives, and you smash them together in thought, smash them together while they're getting high, smash them together while they're even having sex, but more so just smash them together by being in the presence of each other. When you do that, that's when these new perspectives can be birthed. And, you know, I talk on Idea Sex about idea babies. That's exactly what an idea baby is. It's when two people come together and they have a different understanding on a particular idea, and you get a whole brand new idea birthed within the experience of connecting with them. So here we go. Oop. Come on, baby. Having a technical difficulty. Please stand by. So while we're doing this, guys, is there any kind of thoughts you got there? Hey, Heather, how you doing? Welcome on to Idea Sex Live. So we've just been running through the Ontological Promiscuity video, and my understanding is that it's still recording. So here we're good. Yep, we're good. I just went onto my page and noticed that it was still... that it said it had been done. So hopefully you guys are still live here. So here we go.
They were disclosing new forms of beingness before themselves. Like literally, they were smashing their reality tunnels. They were realizing that culture is a linguistic construct, and that the world and the walls that we see before us are constructed, and we can reconstruct them, and we can change them, and we can upgrade them. There became a calling within culture to transform society, to liberate us from the shackles.
I love that, a linguistic construct, that culture is a linguistic construct, that essentially what that means is that, you know, we live by the words that we know. We live by the terms and the definitions and the distinctions that we have to operate our life. And so if we are able to upgrade those distinctions, those definitions, those words in which we operate life, that we can have a whole new experience of life from that. So there's a good thing. If you want to expand your experience of life, expand your vocabulary, find words like ontological, and look at how can I actually start using that in my everyday life? How can I use that to frame my everyday experience towards being a better one, towards being a more self-expressed one? How can I do that? So here we go, more this upgrade of ontological understanding. I love it.
Of dogma, and to create perhaps a new world. So when we talk about the 1960s as the time of revolution, this was not about sexual promiscuity. This was ontological promiscuity. These guys were playing with reality, right? And threatening to usher in new realities, new worlds, new panoramas for humanity.
Beautiful. So there's the vid. And, this is the time where we get to talk about it. So just love any questions you guys have got, anything you want to drill me about, or even just ask me anything around, specifically around, how I've lived my life towards this ontological promiscuity that I definitely I feel I've been doing that for a very, very, very long time. And I'd love to know your experiences with that as well. So please comment on that down below if you have anything to say. All right, so tripod, yes. Maybe I can get one of those soon. I am considering buying one. Jason, thank you. So this creating new realities, and it's a funny thing, especially having experienced virtual reality. If you haven't tried that now, you get to see the experience of actually constructing our reality in a visual, and auditory, and a full immersive sense. But the same is true of everyday life. The same is true of our everyday experience, that we can choose the words onto which we operate. We can choose the reality tunnel we want to look down simply by stating it. I have a creed that I read every day, and this creed declares the reality I wish to live under. I can link you guys to that there, maybe even do a whole video on my creed at some point, but you can too. You can be like, this is the life I want to have today. I want to have a life where I'm going to be generous. I want to have a life where I'm going to contribute to mankind rather than just consume it. So making those words, those ways of being, a focus for the day will really set the pace for how you live and operate in your everyday life. And it sounds very simple, but it's because it actually is. And people who understand media and people who understand the powers that be really get this whole idea of setting up our ontological mindscape so that we can just keep doing what we're doing. And I don't want to get too conspiracy about it, but really they're happy if we just keep cruising through life, consuming through life. But frankly, life is catching up, and we're kind of, as humanity, we are kind of getting sick of this whole consumer culture, and we're ready to start creating. And I love that. I love the concept that we are birthing into our man or womanhood as a species, rather than just being suckling on the teat of the system. That we ourselves can be not even just self-sustaining, not even just thriving, but we can be creators. We can be these mini gods that create our reality and realities of those around us. So that's fantastic. I just want to just going to zip in because I owe it to at least say a quick hello to everyone. Say hi, guys. Hello. Katie. Hello. So yes, we're just ripping on ontological promiscuity, which you liked that concept, didn't you? You liked that word?
I did.
Great. This is Elizabeth, by the way. And I just wanted to at least honor these guys and thank them for having me stay here for this time. So, so I just want to as well just see if there's anything else that we want to cover when it comes to this thing. Hey Ben, how you doing? You're a man who could throw some awesome concepts down. Have we got any questions as well, guys, that we can throw out to everyone else? Let's try and make this a bit more than me just riffing here. I want to connect with you guys if possible. I've got a whole bunch of you on here watching, so say hello and throw a question out for everyone to answer. That might be a cool way of doing it. And maybe I'll come up with a concept for you. So in what ways have you been recently ontologically promiscuous, and in what ways can we become more ontologically promiscuous? So I'll answer that question for myself first up, and love your thoughts as well. So I would say one of the best ways we can do that is to experience different cultures, to experience different tribes. And these different tribes, they all have different ways of being that are completely embedded into their everyday experience, because they coalesce, right? So when you have people coming together over a common goal or a common cause, there's certain ways of being that are present within that tribe that just are just so bright and radiate out of that tribe. So an example is my beautiful, beautiful dance tribe, and one of the things that they really love is expressing themselves on the dance floor. So you'll notice that self-expression and honoring and respecting others' self-expression is a massive part of that particular tribe. So you compare that to a particularly tight, let's just say the Westboro Baptist Church, right? Might be an exact opposite of that. They're not big fans of people expressing themselves and their individuality and their particular beliefs, and so that they might not be seen as weird. Thank you for the likes and loves, by the way. I do appreciate those. Thank you guys coming through. So and I leave that comment. Sorry. So try out these different tribes yourself. Go to like more than just the couple of things that you do. Maybe even have, and this is something I haven't done much, but I'm going to take it on as of this video. Take on a brand new tribe every week. Let's do a brand new tribe every week challenge. When I get back to Australia, currently I am in beautiful Irvine, California. I will be trying a different tribe once a week, just so that I can start smashing my reality tunnels against other people's reality tunnels. Because it's so easy to plateau. Even in a beautiful, loving dance tribe space, for example, it's so easy to plateau within that and not be challenged in our thought processes. And who knows, maybe there is, like in my case, I'm in a very open-minded community. Maybe there's benefit to actually having a bit of closed-mindedness within that as well. Yet to see that be proven, but I'm open to being shown that. So, okie dokie, where are we at? It's hard, 17, cool. I think we've been going for a while. Couple of things, one of the other things that I would do to increase our ontological promiscuity would be to even take on different therapists. Now, therapy is an interesting concept. We kind of look at that and go, well, how broken am I that I need to go to therapy? But I really think that the function of therapy is to increase our choices in life. And it's because of that, those different minds, those different people who are professionally trained to introduce us to different ontological systems and concepts, that these people who are professionally trained to give those ontological systems and concepts, they do it in such a beautiful, gentle way, because it's their job, right? And it's their job to look after you as well, that it's not so much of a shock to the system. Like you might go to, it might be too much for you to go to Ethiopia, and you might have a crisis of identity or an existential issue over being surrounded by these very, very different lives and different beings. But perhaps if we look at these other therapists and these people who can guide on this journey, just mentors. You want to call them mentors instead, if that helps. Find different mentors to connect with, to introduce you to these different arenas of ontology. And it's funny because we do construct. There's a little cool line I heard Russell Brand say this morning, which is, it's like we've built our own neurological prison and we're now complaining about it. We are in charge. We are the jailers, we are the judge, and we are the executioner of our own neurological prison, right? If we want to call it a prison, if we want to make it a prison, and a lot of us do, myself included. I make myself a prison way more than I am proud to say. Hey Grace and hey Cam, welcome on board. Cam's one of my mentors when it comes to the ontological vista of music. This man has just introduced me to such a different way of even thinking and operating, and definitely a different way of being with the world, where it's this beautiful art form, this whole concept of music. It's such a beautiful way of looking at the world. So, thank you to you, Cam, and there's another thing: pick up an instrument, right? There's all these different things we can do to really blow away our ontological vistas. They say that the top 3 things you can do for neurological genesis, so neurogenesis in the brain is where you create new synapses and connections between the neurons in your brain. You actually create new brain cells. The top 3 things we can do towards that. Number 1 is to learn a second language. So if you want to learn a second language, there's one way you can definitely get into a whole different ontological vista, because it's proven in the brain, they've shown scientifically that you see a different reality. You actually see a whole different shade of blue if you're speaking a different language than if you were speaking English, for example, right? So people have gone, which 2 blues look similar? And when you're talking with a different language, you see a different shade of blue. That is actually a proven point. So if you want to experience that, that's one of the best ways you can do it. The second best way you can do it is to play video games. And yes, I'm incredibly biased towards this. Go buy my video games. But like, play video games, especially strategy games. These things will open you up to different ways of thinking. You start thinking on a macro and micro level at the same time, let alone learning how to chunk up and chunk down from the micro detail all the way up to the macro bird's eye view of concepts and life. And you can think on both those levels at the same time, sometimes in some games. Check out Civilization 6, by the way. The trailer looks amazing. Read it by Sean Bean, the guy who from Game of Thrones. Holy heck, amazing. I'll link to that in the description below. The third thing you can do is also to learn a musical instrument, and that's why I mentioned that as well. So yes, thank you for the likes and love. And guys, if you want to catch up with me on my videos from now on, the top, where am I saying? It's going to be this side. You can click on live notifications to be told when I'm coming on live. Thank you so much for coming in today. And just keep those comments flowing in, guys, so we can keep the conversation going. And looking forward to the next Facebook Live tomorrow. Love all your faces, mwah, and bless you, and may you choose a brand new way of being today that you've never chosen before. My one for the month was prudence, so let's take on a new way of being for today. And yeah, see you guys soon.